Hey, what is going on, freedom fighters? Welcome back to another live stream here on Break the Chains Media. Today is Tyranny Response Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. And it has been, actually, what was it, 2 years, 2 entire years until the tragic events that happened in Israel on October 7th. 2023. Was it 2023 or 2022? I don't know, because guess what? I don't give a shit about Israel. I do feel for the people and the victims and the hostages. Like, that is another thing entirely, like a humanitarian angle. But the fact that what we have seen since this outcry, since this justifiable response of Israel has a right to defend herself. This whole hullabaloo, right? This whole conversation. But does Israel have a right to kill 60-something plus thousand Palestinians and completely level the Gaza Strip and then claim that the Gazans and the Hamas, insurgents were rigging explosives into these buildings, which caused all of these buildings to just blow up on their own? Let's give it a break. Let's take a hot beat. Let's slow down a minute, calm down, because, it is tragic, but at the end of the day, Israel is not my concern. Tyranny Response Tuesday is here to call out all the tyrants, call out all the evil, all the scum and villainy of the world. And ironically, a lot of those, people that causing all the scum and villainy end up actually being in that desert sandbox, as it will, but also being in your elected offices, because we are not holding our elected officials accountable, right? And that's why I'm here. That's why I do these things. That's why I stream, and that's why I bring truth to the people, truth to the Coloradan, to all the Mile High Coloradans here, fighting the good fight, wanting truth and liberty and justice in not only our elected office, but our election systems and our representatives and our judicial system and our institutions all around. So we are going to get into a lot of things. I appreciate everybody streaming in and joining the chat right now. Say hello in the chat if you are able to, because I do love having you guys in amongst the conversations. We are starting this stream a little bit early. I am trying to kind of really hone in on the perfect time to run the stream. So if you enjoy a 1 o'clock, I was trying to shoot for 1, ended up getting here about 1:30, 1:40. Here I am. Let me know if it's good to do, like, I was going to shoot for like a 1 to 2:30 stream, or like a 1 to 2 stream, or do a 3:30 to 5 stream. It really just depends. But either way, we're here. We're having a good time. We are going to discuss a few contested, hot topic issues. We are going to talk about Colorado's gun control and the completely overlooked tragedy that happened in Evergreen High School. Strangely, the same day that the Charlie Kirk assassination took place, and it unfortunately got completely shadowed by the international story of Charlie Kirk. But with the dust settling and everything kind of clearing, we are going to look into the gun control narrative at Evergreen High School, compare it to the gun control debate happening here in Colorado, and how it does not fit the Democrat and the leftist narrative, and these pearl clutchers that always think of the children, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't fit their narrative about big scary black guns with belt-fed, fully automatic, ripping flesh from bone guns and weapons of mass destruction, if it doesn't fit that narrative, they can't talk about it. They don't speak about it. So we are going to talk about that. We are also going to just interdisperse this Jena Griswold narrative. And for anyone who's not aware, Secretary of State Jena Griswold is a vile and atrocious human being, and she is very much a quintessential distilled version of the Halloween season here in Colorado. That's why I'm kind of bringing in the Halloween vibe as we enter into this October month, and maybe I'll add some more spooky narratives and spooky stories that we can bring up. If you want to talk about some spooky stuff, you let me know in the comments. You let me know in the chat. Maybe we'll talk about some cryptids. Maybe talk about some hauntings and But I think we are quite being haunted plenty by these evil politicians and these elected officials who do not represent us, and we are being tormented and haunted by illegal invaders and criminals that are infecting our nation and infecting our country. So we got plenty of scary things to talk about here in the month of October. If this is the first time joining Break the Chains Media, get that follow button, give me that thumbs up, share this with your friends and family, shout this out. If you are watching on X right now, I genuinely appreciate you. Share this live stream, share this, whether it's your Rumble link, whether it's a YouTube link, but anywhere you're watching, I appreciate the share, I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the live chats. So without further ado, if you are wanting to support the work, breakthechains.media is the website. You can check out here. You got the socials, got the articles, got some of the overviews of all the past stuff I've done in years past. You can check out the supporting the channel here with Realm Walker hot sauce. If you want to grab a bottle of hot sauce, you can grab yourself a bottle here. I do have Muspelheim, which is my favorite red super hot pepper, roasted red pepper. Asgard, which is currently the spiciest one. You can check that out. Carolina Reaper, Dragon's Breath. Holy shit, that is a hot one. But it is one of my favorites. All of these are delicious. They're all hand-grown, homemade here, super small batch. So if you are interested, please reach out to me. Follow me at breakthechains.media is the website. Follow me on Instagram at breakthechainsm. But without further ado, we are jumping right into it. Let's make sure my audio is fine. Super small batch. Yeah, it is. We're good. We are good. Just so, I am the one-man band here, folks. I am the content creator. I am the personality. I am the producer. I am the editor. I am the soundboard guy. Gandalf, what do you have to say?
You shall not pass!
Gandalf does help me out every once in a while. He does chime in with his own comments, but without further ado, folks, we are going to jump right into it. This is an older. It's actually really loud. Hold on, sorry. This is Scott Bottoms from earlier this. It's actually from a few years ago. Excuse me. Is it January? Yeah, no, not a few years ago. January 23rd, 2025. But this is from the Free State, Colorado. Brandon working hard up in the north. But he is reporting on this, and this is the state of affairs when it comes to Secretary of State Jena Griswold, and this is a direct response of how she handled her, quote unquote, the leaking of her passwords. She leaked the passwords to 61 out of 64 counties here in Colorado, and she completely undermined the entire election process. She should be in jail for election interference because she openly and willingly put this out not only on the Secretary of State website for months. Anyone could open it up and get the password and get the information from this PDF file that she was able to be downloaded, folks. And yet she had the gall and the audacity to claim that Colorado elections are the gold standard of elections. Let's take a listen from Representative Scott Bottoms, who is actually also running for governor. So let's take a listen here from earlier, start of this year here, just a response of the debacle, fiasco that Jena Griswold started here in Colorado.
So Representative Scott Bottoms, what happened today in the Joint Senate Committee?
Well, we started seeing from the very beginning that Secretary of State Griswold was very defensive, back on her heels. She was very attacking. She attacked Stephanie Luck, Representative Luck, very viciously. She dismissed both senators, Senator Pelton and Senator Pelton, dismissed their remarks offhandedly like they were nothing. They were conspiracies. She also attacked Representative DeGraff pretty strongly. And then none of that was shut down. The chair let all that go. We also saw where Representative Mabry went after.
Oops, sorry, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, my computer has brain farts.
The Republicans and attacked us very strongly. That was not stopped. When I started.
Hold, please. Sorry, hold, please.
Asking questions. I was interrupted twice because my statements went against the narrative, went against the Democrats, went against the status quo, and how dare you say something about the revered Secretary of State Griswold. She needs to be in jail, and when we address this stuff, she pushes back and the Dems surround her, protect her, and attack the people that are actually trying to speak truth. It's horribly disgusting, and it was very disappointing and disgusting of the chair to treat us all like this and allow us to be treated like this.
So this is a prime example of basic Democrat leftist behavior. They circle the wagons. They defend their own. They cannot do any wrong. They are always on the up and up. They're always so innocent, and everyone comes out to attack. The Republicans pounce. Republicans pounce. Right? That's what they always say. But at the end of the day, we are being objective in our logic and understanding and seeing it for what it is. The fact that no one felt like this was a violation of her oath. A violation of her job, right? Of what she did wrong. Secretary of State details when her office learned of improperly posted passwords. Just like listen to that headline. Improperly posted passwords. These were passwords for the election machines for our state. But no big deal. No big deal. Jena Griswold gets no issue comes to her. They pass the buck to a lower county clerk. Someone who made a mistake in her office, right? A little lower office person, but it's not Jena's fault. Jena has nothing to blame of it. Totally just right off her shoulders, right? A Denver District Court judge has denied the Libertarian Party of Council request. This is from last November. The Libertarian Party of Colorado sued Jena Griswold. I believe it was sued, yes. Request to decommission any voting machine associated with the leaked passwords and require counties to restart counting ballots by hand. We should be counting all ballots by hand, and it should be done in person. By person. The party filed a lawsuit against Secretary of State office Friday in response to the announcement of the passwords of many of the state's 2,100 pieces of election equipment were posted online. But Jena Griswold's, the infallible God, Emperor, Queen, can do no wrong. She did nothing wrong, folks. Colorado Secretary of State office was first alerted that the passwords of many of the state's pieces of election equipment were posted online by the maker of some of that equipment. In a state learned of the situation October 24th, 5 days before the Colorado GOP sent an email members describing the security breach. Okay? What they learned was the current passwords of the equipment of 34 of 64 counties. Excuse me, I said 61. Excuse me. Only 34 counties. Only 34 of the Colorado 64 counties were listed on a hidden tab on a spreadsheet that has been online since June. So from June, July, August, September, October, for 5 months, these passwords were leaked to the public. No big deal. Jena Griswold keeps her job. Okay? The visible portions of the sheet contain other information about voting machines that Colorado is required to make public. So a portion of it was required to remain public, but not the goddamn passwords. That information is part of a new timeline of the disclosure. Ever since the posting became public, state and local clerks of the equipment manufacturers have all emphasized that BIOS passwords can only be entered into a machine in person, and this type of voting equipment is stored in locked rooms under 24/7 video surveillance. Okay, well, guess what, folks? Those who count the votes win the elections, right? Well, that's not what, sorry, I keep saying it wrong. Let me look it up. What is the quote? It's a Stalin quote, I believe. Yes. Yes, right. Joseph Stalin's quote of saying, "Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything." Okay? That's not what I wanted. Okay, great. Let me just back out of that because excellent. Okay. Those who vote decide nothing. Those who count the vote decide everything. This is a quote from a fucking socialist, from a fucking communist, right? Full tilt, authoritarian communist, right? Those who vote decide nothing. Those who count the vote decide everything. And I would boldly argue that in this constitutional republic, our systems and our election process have been compromised and have been usurped and taken over through this ideology right here, through this principled nature right here, especially in Colorado. When we have Jena Griswold and the Secretary of State and her corrupt and all of her ilk, Phil Weiser, Attorney General, being able to persecute and prosecute and use the judicial system, use the legislative laws that have been put in place by card-carrying members of the Democrat Socialists of America. You have card-carrying members in our legislative office who are writing these bills, who are then instituted and put into law because the Democrats have gained supermajority for many years in Colorado's elected offices. So they pass socialist, arguably Marxist legislation. Then you get these Marxists in office in the Attorney General's position so that they pick and choose what kind of laws they can actually run on, or what kind of laws they can institute, right? So let's go back. I wanted to I'm actually going to open this up again in another window here because I have another going off of Phil Weiser, okay? Responding to how Phil Weiser does his job as Attorney General, right? Let me just scroll down here because it's way down here, okay? For some reason, it doesn't show up in my main timeline. I have to go to the replies. Sorry, this is gonna hurt. I'm sorry, I'm torturing you with Jena Griswold's face. I was gonna show you that in a minute, but let's go back here. It's right here. It should be right here. Here is Phil Weiser. Okay. For some reason, this doesn't show up on my timeline. I don't know why, even though I reposted it and I made my own post. But for some reason, it shows up as a reply. Whatever. I don't know how X does its things. But this is our Attorney General Phil Weiser when he's speaking specifically on how he enforces various Colorado laws. Right. Melindy, hello. Thanks for showing up. Had a showing to get through. No worries, dude. I appreciate you stopping in. But we're talking Colorado politics as we do here on Tyranny Response Tuesday in Colorado right now. This is Attorney General Phil Weiser speaking on how he would prosecute criminals who institute Grand Theft Auto.
So after someone commits a third or fourth car theft in, say, 3 months, they should be kept in with a really high bond because you got a sense they're going to get out, they're going to commit more crimes.
You sure? Are you sure about that there, bucko? You sure about that? Are you sure about that? Phil, listen. You're talking about a second or third attempt?
So after
or
someone
third or fourth attempt,
commits a third or fourth car theft in...
A third or fourth car theft. That's when we should start thinking about really putting down the judicial system, right? Not the first time someone steals a car. No, we don't want to do that. We're gonna take it easy on the first couple times you steal a car, but after the third or fourth, that's when we're really gonna go hard. Gandalf, what do you got to say? Gandalf.
Shall not pass.
Enough of this bullshit, Phil. This guy's running for governor. He's currently Attorney General. This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about inept elected officials and they watch out for each other and they circle the wagon around each other, right? They're all corrupt. Okay? Scott Bottoms and the Republicans were trying to do their damnedest in the Colorado State House, and now don't like let's not like mince words. There's a lot of Republicans, a lot of GOP officials who are also yellow-bellied and weak-spined. Okay? They have weak wills. They don't hold themselves up. Okay? And they don't stand and fight. And sometimes it does suck, because when you only have a small handful of actual honest elected officials who do stand and fight, sometimes the fight feels hopeless. Sometimes the fight feels like we're not doing anything at all. But this is why we have to continue to speak loudly, continue to stand strong and stand tall on the issues that mean the most. Be the only one on that hill if you believe in it. Okay? Others in time will rally to your cause if your cause is true, if your cause means something. Transing children and gender mutilation, that's a hill I will stand on and die on. I will not allow my government, my taxpayer dollars, to mutilate and harm psychologically, physically, emotionally, mentally, every degree of children. The transing and the indoctrination and the mental, physical harm of children is something I will not stand for. Gandalf? This is the shit, right? I refuse to see that happen, okay? But this is why we have to stand up and fight. This is why we have to hold principal values, right? This whole Secretary of State thing. I mean, I pulled up, this is older news, right? Okay, this is a good sign. Arrest Secretary of State Jena Griswold. She exposes a password for 63 counties. It's an honest mistake, that's what they say. But they actually arrested Tina Peters, who was accused of sharing passwords, and she's sentenced to 9 years in prison. Okay? This is the level of hypocrisy that we're living in Colorado right now. And I don't know if you caught my last stream, but my last stream, I spoke very openly about the issue. Oh, I pulled this up. If you feel inclined to, the Department of State, Secretary of State Office, 1700 Broadway, okay? I will read it because it is, no, this is actually different. This just goes to show you another example on how Secretary of State Jena Griswold has weaponized her position and has instituted her communist, her leftist ilk, and her rallying of her tribe and her mentality and her partisan politics into her position of elected office. Okay? She got shot down in a 9-0 Supreme Court decision, basically shut her ass up when she tried to take Trump off the ballot. Remember that? She was trying to take Trump off the ballot before the 2024 election. Okay? And now she came out March 2025. Trump's executive order is unlawful. It would prevent eligible Americans from exercising their sacred right to vote. The Trump administration is weaponizing the federal government and trying to make it harder for voters to fight back at the ballot box. The United States has always led the world in conducting free and fair elections, says the one who is running the most corrupt and arguably compromised election scandals in the nation of the United States. Colorado is arguably one of the battlegrounds for the most corrupt and controlled leftist compromised election systems in our country. Arguably, because in California you can't even ask to see an ID. Election pollers at the election place have to literally avert their eyes if you show them an ID because they can't look at it. This is how they win, folks. They try. It's all tied in with illegal immigrants. It's all tied with electronic voting. It's all tied with mail-in balloting. It's all tied in. And I've been speaking on this very vocally, and I've had other live streams where I've spoken to So this is the executive order. I'm kind of going into a tangent, but I'm going to bring it all around. That's how Break the Chains Media is, folks. This is how Break the Chains Media works. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, share this video if you enjoy this. But this is all going to come back together in one big happy little circle, folks. Okay? This is the White House executive order preserving and protecting the integrity of American elections. Okay? Talking about free and fair elections. We're talking about, having an election day, the nation for federal elections, several federal laws prohibit foreign nationals from registering to vote on federal elections, yet states fail adequately to vet voters' citizenships, and in recent years, Department of Justice has failed to prioritize and vote sufficient resources for enforcing these provisions. Even worse, the prior administration actively prevented states from removing aliens from their voter lists. It all ties together, folks. Enforcing the citizenship requirements for federal elections. Okay? Within 30 days of this executive order, Election Assistance Commission shall take appropriate actions to require in its national mail voter registration form under 52 USC 20508. Okay, this is a full, I'm actually going to make a whole video on this because I didn't realize this was as extensive as it is. I can't go into all this right now, but holy shit, this is what Jena Griswold went against, because Jena Griswold fights for the sacred right for all Americans for a free and fair election. We cannot let Donald Trump end that legacy. Folks, this is how Democrats win. Okay? They win because they have put these people, and they have put their restraints and their legislation and their control, and the way that Colorado has done it in 2013. I'm gonna wrap this up in in just a couple minutes here, because we have to get into the Evergreen High School stuff, and I need to talk about Evergreen High School. I need to talk about the Jeffco response, Jeffco County response to Evergreen High School, and how they're implementing the whole gun control debate and conversation, how it doesn't fit their narrative. Okay? We are going to talk about all that, folks. I have to exit out of these here. I don't need that. But this is, I'm going to try to make it as short and sweet as I can, because I've been derailed back and forth a little bit here and there. But it all comes back to what and how Colorado was taken over many years ago by the Gang of Four, by I have to pull this up. The Gang of Four and the Democrats took over Colorado back in the mid-2000s, and then they implemented and instituted their plans, thank you, Forbes, to fundamentally change how Colorado's election operated. In 2013, what Colorado did was they implemented the election, the mail-in voting, statewide mail-in voting initiative, okay? In 2013, they instituted mail-in voting statewide. So everyone in Colorado could vote by mail. And do you know how they did that? How they implemented that? They operated that through the Department of Motor Vehicles, through the DMV, okay? And you can check all this up, all this I've linked before, but I'll link it again. If you're questioning me, I'll bring it up. Okay, I'll post it in my X account, and I'll post it in my Telegram. But in 2013, they implemented mail-in voting, statewide mail-in voting through the DMV. What they did also through the DMV was, if you are an illegal immigrant or an undocumented person in Colorado, you could also get an identification through, what is it? The DMV, folks. Through the DMV. You could sign up through the DMV and get your identification through the DMV. Okay? Well, what happens at the DMV? You automatically get registered to vote. Huh. So you're telling me that illegal immigrants can get an ID through the DMV and they simultaneously get a way to vote, not only just any vote, but they can vote by mail. And then the vote by mail has no vetting process of identification or they claim it's through signature verification. They claim it's through all their electronic voting systems. They claim the Dominion and the most secure and fair and honest gold standard elections of all time. Colorado has the best and fairest and most secure election. When they have to talk like that, folks, when they have to keep repeating over and over again this free and fair and gold standard and honest and viable and sure shot election, when they have to keep doing that, doesn't that make you think that they might be hiding something, or they might be, not being completely honest? Okay? This is what happened in 2013, and then as that year by year, year over year, and then now we're sitting in a timeline where Jena Griswold is in charge of the Secretary of State. She's in charge of operating and managing all of our elections here in Colorado. She got in, I think, in 2018, and then she has a whole shady history of her being funded through George Soros finance and open societies. This whole conversation, and she's one of many Secretary of States and trying to now run for Attorney General, one of many across the country who is funded by George Soros. Okay, this is how they've implemented and instituted their plans to control elections, to control legislation. So you control the legislation, then you can control the judiciary, because then you get attorney generals and secretary of states who work together, who pick and choose what laws they enforce, pick and choose how they operate their elections. And now we're in this compromised state where we're fighting an uphill battle. We are in the trenches. Anyone who wants honest and fair elections are in the trenches. We're behind the eight ball. We are so if we have muskets and they have fucking laser cannons. You know what I mean? Like we are outgunned in this fight, but that doesn't mean we could just fucking roll over and give up, okay? I'm not sitting here trying to black pill people and say, oh, everything's fucked, everything's done, there's no way we can win. What we need to do is we need to get our fellow Coloradans, get fellow patriots who want to see a fundamental change, get out there and not just register Republican, but get out there and register a friend. Try to have these conversations about how difficult or how compromised our system is, and say the only way we can do it is to flood this in mass, show up in force, like on a magnitude scale grander than they could ever imagine. Exactly, Seth. I'm gonna pull that up right now. Because I posted this and it's blowing up, giving traction. This was my post. Seth Sparky, we're all talking about the same thing here, folks. And I'm trying to be a realist. At the same time, I'm trying to make sure that we have the fire still within us to say we cannot give up. Yeah, Republicans suck, Democrats suck, politicians are bought and paid for, but what do? We hold them accountable, or we put people in charge, or we put people in elected office who can actually represent and stand up for us and speak like I am and say enough of this compromised game. I see how you're like, we're all playing Monopoly. And I see the banker pulling 20s every time it's his turn, and I go, hey, that's cheating. You can't do that shit. Quit pulling money out of the bank. Oh, you just put a property on that. You didn't buy it. We're calling out their fucking charade. Calling out the game. What do you say, Gandalf? What do you say?
You shall not pass!
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Or in this case, $7,000 for if you're promoting pro-Israel shit, right? But that's a whole nother conversation. Folks, check it out. It's Halloween season, Colorado. One of these photos depicts a young, power-hungry witch leading a coven of her cult followers. She casts spells and craves more from her witchcraft, eventually going insane. The other one is Nancy Downs from the 1996 movie The Craft. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? Yeah. You know, and nothing against the actress. I mean, the actress, what's her name? Figueroa. Figueroa. She's got a weird name. She's a great actress. I think she's awesome. But it's a shame that I have to compare Secretary of State Jena Griswold. I'm so sorry, folks. Avert your eyes. Avert your eyes. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. This is Secretary of State Jena Griswold. She's got the crazy face. That's the crazy, like, ex. Like the ex that won't leave you alone. Like the chick from Wayne's World, right? What am I going to do with a gun rack? I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns to necessitate the use of a gun rack, right? She's got the crazy eyes, okay? They're the same picture, right? It's the same picture. Crazy face, crazy eyes. You know, that's the person that's in charge of our elections here in Colorado, okay? It's insane. Okay, I'm just trying to say, like, there's many things that go into that. There's many things that tie into it. Okay, this was tying into the Tina Peters, tying into this whole Secretary of State, this whole election conversation. Okay, from the skiff, confirmed. U.S. elections are able to be manipulated by foreign agents through Smartmatic voting machines. Okay, caveat. We do not use Smartmatic voting machines. We use Dominion voting machines. However, Smartmatic infrastructure and Dominion infrastructure are the same. If you watched my if you watched my live stream yesterday, you'd see it. I explained on this, right? Gretchen Whitmer, yeah, dude, they all got the crazy. They all got the crazy psycho eyes, right? Tina Peters court case. Former election official from Venezuela gave sworn testimony regarding Smartmatic. Sir, do you have personal knowledge whether the election system in the United States voting systems can be manipulated by foreign agents? The electoral system of the United States can be manipulated by foreign agents or third parties. Sir, are you in danger, physical danger, if your true identity is known? Answer, yes. This should confirm everything you already know. Okay? This is a transcript from the testimony. Okay? Princeton IT department did a whole study on the software and proved it. No one listed and none of them and the machines were pushed through. No one listened and the machines were pushed through. Princeton's IT department. So this is all, I mean, like, I don't understand why we have to argue about this anymore. Okay? You can do this. This is point proven that it can be done. Okay? Election integrity and banning electronic voting machines need to be priority number one in Colorado and across the country, arguably, if we ever want to get communists out of controlled elected power. Okay? And when I say elected, I tie it back to the Stalin quote, you know? It's not about who votes, it's about who counts them. Okay? This is how they're taking over. One of the main ways that the communists in many different countries are taking over. Or counties, countries, you name it, whatever. Folks, I am going to be powering through this last 10 minutes. I do have somewhere to be in about 20 minutes, but I could obviously the election thing is very important to me. It's very passionate to me. It means a lot because if we don't continue to speak loud on this election integrity, on this, and Colorado is the bleeding edge, the front line to this election integrity conversation. Not only about Tina Peters, not only what she's uncovered, but the fact that this is all stemming back to a multi-year, multi-decade movement that has been compromised and taken over by the left. And now they're in the positions of power. Now they're in the control structure. And now we have to come up. Basically, we're coming in behind, but we're not done fighting. We're not giving up yet. I refuse to give up. Okay. And on that note, folks, I did speak. There was, many of my friends who are arguably black pilled or doomered. A lot of anarcho capitalists, like they all want to step out of the system. They all want to give up. They say, the whole system's corrupt. The whole system's fucked. There's nothing we can do. You might as well just, not participate. And you know what? Wonderful. If you want to do that, by all means, go right ahead. But I don't want to live in a world where I can't make a change. Okay? If my principal ethos is be the change you wish to see in the world, sitting on the sidelines and watching the world burn while you just sit there on your computer and say, Republicans are fucking dumb too. Oh, Democrats are commies and so are Republicans. Everyone's a commie. No one's here to save you. Bitch, I know that. You don't need to tell me that. You don't need to come in on your social media platform and be a little keyboard fucking warrior and tell me that both parties are compromised. I get it. I am aware. I've been calling out the two-party system for a long time. But guess what, folks? And I've said it again, and I'll say it 1,000 times. The two-party system is the only system we fucking have. Right now, it's the only thing we can actually use to get good people in elected office that can make a change, that can speak up and can use the bully pulpit, that can sit in the well of your state house, that can hopefully get into the U.S., Congress and stand in that well and speak on these things. Thomas Massey's doing it, You got Scott Bottoms doing it. You got Ken DeGraff doing it here in the Colorado State House. This is the energy that we need. Use the system to take down the system. I know it might sound crazy and far-fetched to some of these anarcho types who just want to see everything, get fucked. And I'm gonna go print guns and buy Bitcoin and sit in the woods and dig my fucking foxhole while I just fucking bitch and moan about the system that's already taken over by a bunch of fucking child abusers and the Epstein files and all this. Everything's fucked. I know it. And I'm sick and tired of being on that team where they're just like, everything's fucked and nothing's gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change. Guess what? Nothing's gonna change if you don't get off your ass and do something. Okay? Have these hard conversations and get off your ass and talk to people in your public and get active and make sure that we have a voice in politics. If you don't have a voice in politics, you have no say, you have no room to talk when shit starts hitting the fan harder than you'd expect. Okay? I can't be there defending you when they always post the same memes. It's you have the left boot. You have the left boot on this side of your face, and then the right boot on this side of your face. And it doesn't matter. It's the left or right. If you don't like these politicians, get them out, call them out, remove them from office, and elect people that mean well, that do well, that want the best interest for the constituents that they represent. Okay? Put honest people in these positions of elected power. That's all I'm saying. Do something rather than bitch about it. That was my whole anarchy, black pill doomer rant. I'm sick of it. I've been there. I lived in it for fucking 10 years, okay? It takes many years to really see how we can fundamentally change the system. So in my 20s, I was really damn the man and down with the system. But then I realized, well, there's nothing really else, There's nothing really else but the system, so we have to at least try to use the system to take over the system, to control the system, to change it. That's my 2 cents, folks. I don't know. New poll shows blue state Colorado in play for Republicans from Forbes magazine. Okay? A recent Denver Post report on the state of affairs of Colorado affirmed what Democrats have seen nationally, that their brand is struggling. Another recent Quinnipiac University poll affirmed the same. The Democrat Party is deeply unpopular nationwide, and traditionally blue states, like Colorado, isn't immune from the same trend. The strength of Republican identification with working class issues is a warning shot for a party that's lost ground across the country. Oh, you don't say. You don't say. Reliably blue Colorado has seen dramatic poll shift rejecting Democrat policies. You know why Colorado's been quote-unquote reliably blue? Ever since Obama won in 2008, it's the same fucking thing. I keep coming back to it because I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's been the same fucking reason. The Gang of Four and the takeover of Colorado in the mid-2000s caused that. Okay, and now we're seeing a pushback here in Colorado. We're seeing a pushback. We're making it happen. You and me and everyone watching and everyone sharing this, folks. I appreciate everyone here. Thumbs up in the chat. Appreciate Seth Sparky. Appreciate Melindy. Appreciate everyone here listening and being a part of this conversation because this is what we have to have, right? Fucking thumbs up. Let's go. Guns up. Guns up. Suns up. Let's go. Right? Having a good time. Okay. Moreover, in a recent Denver Post headline was a red flag to state's Democrats. Colorado voters are dissatisfied with Democrats. Governor Jared Polis, Senator John Hickenlooper, and Michael Bennet can't hide. The takeaway of the editorial was that Polis, whose term expires next year, midterms, both Bennet and Hickenlooper are significantly underwater in approval numbers. Oh, you don't fucking say. You don't say. The poll was conducted by Magellan Strategies, included a response from almost 1,200 registered Colorado voters, and resulting mirroring Democrats have seen nationwide. Americans are unhappy with Democrat policies in urban centers across the country, including Denver. I wonder when we're going to see, are we going to see, National Guard deployed in Denver against the sanctuary city policies? We've had sanctuary cities policies. We've had failed Democrat leadership in the mayoral position of Denver as a whole in Denver County with Mayor Mike Johnston. We've also seen failures in elected representative seats and this extremist Marxist fucking legislation. Card-carrying Democrat Socialists of America in our state house. Folks, it's all here, okay? I can keep repeating on it. Look at this guy. Look at this fucking Muppet. Look at this Muppet. Michael Bennet. Trash. Okay? In a poll conducted 2 weeks ago on Message and a Beltway-based Republican survey firm, a vast majority of Colorado Republicans and independents, comprising of 2/3 of all voters, because Colorado is a pretty split three-way registered state, think the state is headed in the wrong direction. Couple that with 1/3 of Democrats sharing the same view, and you have a recipe for political upset. 1/3 of Colorado Democrats agree that the state is going in the wrong direction. You can't make this shit up. Okay? This is a great article. It's from Forbes. I posted it on my page. I posted it on my Break the Chains on X. Okay? This is it. Since 2013, Colorado has gone overboard on gun control legislation. Oh, wait. Sorry, that's tying into the next one. Sorry. I was getting ahead of myself. Okay. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. This is only the beginning of the Republican Renaissance here in Colorado. We will flip Colorado red again. Mark my words. We have the ground game and the active patriots rallying against the commies. Share this and join me. New polls show blue state Colorado in play for the GOP. Let's make it happen, folks. Let's make it happen. Use this energy. Don't let it die. Don't let the winter months quell you. Use this time to build your rallying cry, to build your ground game, to build the swell. That way, come springtime, come February, come March, come the warmer months, we can door knock, we can be active, we can have clean, concise conversations about Colorado policies and Colorado issues. So that way, the warmer months come, we're going to have a clean understanding of what we want here in the Mile High State, here in the Centennial State of Colorado. That's what we want to see. So we have to stay consistent in our messaging and make sure it's exactly the future that we want to see. Okay, folks, look at my hair. It's fucking ridiculous right now. Jesus Christ. Okay, listen. I want to share this 2 minutes, and then we're going to get into the last segment of the stream. Appreciate everyone here. Thumbs up, share the channel. You know what to do. I appreciate everyone here. Okay, this gentleman commented on one of my posts. Okay, and I appreciate the conversations I have on my posts, and I genuinely I talk I interact with much as I can. So feel free to jump in the conversations. Okay. Kojatowski. That's a name. I donated over 10 grand and volunteered hundreds of hours last election, only to see our representatives prioritize Israel over their constituents. 9 months into the administration, we have acknowledgement of 2 genders, secure borders. However, deportations are at a 30-year low due to corporate demands for cheaper labor. Aside from fuel, nothing is cheaper. Homeowners insurance rose 50% this year. Car insurance increased 25%. Health insurance costs are exorbitant. I agree. All this shit sucks, man. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Our choices are a party that believes in 2 genders and spends heavily on corporate interests and foreign wars versus a multi-gender party that spends on the same issues. Life isn't improving regardless of who controls the White House or Congress. I suspect next midterms we'll have the lowest turnout ever. It feels pointless to choose who harms us. Being harmed doesn't feel better just because we voted for it. It feels worse. Listen, I commented. I said, sorry, that's not what I wanted to click on. It's fine. You aren't alone. So many of us feel this way, and I genuinely feel this. I feel the sentiment. I genuinely do. I know I am tired of being burned out by scummy politicians and their elitist ties while we all suffer and the masses bitch about social issues rather than economic freedoms, upward mobility, and modern innovations to real daily issues. These are exactly the reasons why I decide to stay and fight. To rally more to this cause, to continue exposing this behavior, the people in elected office, exposing their evil behavior. Okay? One day I may even take up the reins myself. I don't know. We will see. What I do know is life, liberty, private property, and our next generation's endeavors, and all of our pursuits of happiness is all worth fighting for. All of this is worth fighting for, folks. That's why I can't be quiet. That's why I have to continue to speak these things to power, okay? I will not be quiet, okay? Join me. Break the chains and break the system in which controls us. Use it or lose it. Be a part of it. Otherwise, we're going to be corrupted from it, right? All right. Melindy, in my honest opinion, the key things to going forward are information and engagement. 100% totally agree. We have to stay involved. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. We have to stay involved. And this is I think why we're in the situation we're in. We are in the situation we are in right now is because so many people are apathetic. So many people are checked out. Oh, and a coalition of building before the names go on the ballot. Yeah, so this is why we have to do what we do, right? Why I'm being so gung-ho right now is during the fall into the winter, these are the times to strategize. This is how we strategize the ground game. This is how we strategize our plan of attack for the spring. Primaries are in June. Primaries are June 2026. The elections November. We have to be solid in our position by February and March. We have to be ground game activated in March, no doubt. Know what our positions are. Know who we're representing. Know what we're campaigning on. Platform, messaging. By March, no later. Right now, October, we got time to kind of mull over these ideas and really hone in on what we need to do. And what we need to do right now, yes, the enemy does not rest, not one bit. That is why we have to. It's tattooed on my arm right here. It's a really weird angle, but it says it right there. I don't know if you can read it. It says fight for freedom. The fight for freedom, and it never relents. You have to continually press forward. Okay? I've got 10 minutes to crush this last little bit out because I love rambling. Yes. Before the holiday breaks, absolutely. Coalesce, and this is networking and messaging right now. Has to happen right fucking now. All right. With that being said, the Colorado Democrats are losing on this issue. Because they're lost on messaging, they're lost on what their next policy is. All they can do is raise taxes. All they do is raise taxes, raise fees, think that building more houses and unionizing and subsidizing and federalizing all this, all this shit is going to help Colorado when in fact it only harms us. Okay? Since 2013, Colorado has gone overboard on gun control legislation using, quote, protect the children and other pearl-clutching phrases. But why are they so silent about the Evergreen High School shooting? The Evergreen High School shooting happened the same day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It wasn't covered up. It was just overlooked because of obviously the Charlie Kirk took over the news cycle, took over everything, right? But point still stands. Evergreen High School had a school shooting, and I don't know if I think they're still phasing into schooling, but the reason why no one's really brought it up again or really spoken out vocally about it, because it doesn't fit their gun control narrative. Okay? Evergreen High School students and staff prepare to go back into the building September 22nd, 2025. This was the short report talking about just how the community and how Evergreen High School is recovering from this tragedy. 2 students were shot and killed. Here's a link to feast on captaink.us. I will check that out. Jefferson County School District beginning phased approach of returning students back to staff in Evergreen High School this week following the shooting that left 2 students hospitalized and another student, the shooter, dead. Actual class for students won't start until next week, so I think they just started probably this last week, a week before. The plan shaped several meetings. School district leaders said the only school had minor changes following the shooting, including some replaced floor and carpet tiles, and all doors now have large school posters on them covering the markings law enforcement made on them when they were clearing the school. Okay? So this is just an article responding to the shooting. But this is the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office provides timeline of shooting events. Now, this is why it does not fit the gun control narrative here in Colorado, even though Colorado has arguably one of the most strictest gun controls in the country, arguably to California and New York and Chicago. Okay? Statewide, California has very strict gun control policy, but as of the passing of Senate Bill 003 this past legislative cycle here in Colorado, as of August 1st, 2026, Colorado will have the most strict gun control in the country because of their excessive magazine ban and semi-automatic and ammunition carrying capacity ban. All of the 23 legislative. What was it? Where was it? I posted it here just before. 25 gun laws signed by Governor Jared Polis in his administration term. Okay? But Jared Polis is going to call out Donald Trump on his alleged Project 2025 narrative. Okay? Meanwhile, Governor Polis is literally an authoritarian tyrant passing the most tyrannical gun controls in the country. Okay? Let's read this from Jefferson County Sheriff. Timeline of the shooting, Evergreen High School on September 10th. After the calls flooding in 911 dispatch, deputies were dispatched at 12:24 p.m. and arrived within 2 minutes. That was literally almost within the same minutes that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. It's crazy how it happened almost at the same time. I remember that. At September 10th, I was looking at Charlie Kirk stuff and hearing about Evergreen, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was crazy. Crazy in Colorado. The shooting had started inside the school where the 16-year-old used a revolver to shoot a student. The shooter used a revolver. Not a big black scary murder weapon, right? Not a weapon of war as they call it. Not a fully automatic bullet debacle mass murdering machine, as these leftists always claim it to be. Okay? A revolver doesn't fit their gun control narrative. Doesn't fit their gun control legislation. Okay? They're always attacking magazines and barrel lengths and bump stocks and trigger receivers, all these other things, but not a revolver. Doesn't fit their narrative. That's why they don't talk about it, right? The gunman stepped out of the school building across the football field, striking a second student outside the corner of Olive Street in Buffalo Park. Deputies confronted the shooter, who then took his own life. Shooter took his own life. 16-year-old with a revolver, already illegal. Revolvers aren't illegal, but anyone under the age of 21 having a handgun is illegal, right? That's federal. Revolver is not a magazine, so so a revolver is not illegal. But having a 16-year-old at school zones are gun-free zones, so that's illegal. So many legislative legislative and leftist loopholes that they can't really prescribe their narrative, and they can't say we've got to go after the guns, right? Obviously, there's many questions still open to be had here in regards to this Evergreen school shooter. Terrible situation. I pray for the recovery of the community. Pray for the recovery of those involved and the students involved. I believe the students were not killed; they were just harmed. They were hospitalized. 2 students who were shot are still hospitalized, and their conditions have not changed. The one is in critical condition, is in serious condition, according to the hospital spokesperson. Okay, and now here's the big kicker. Right now, look at this. This is what Second Amendment absolutists always, after any shooting, this is what I propose. Is what many Second Amendment absolutists propose. Armed security. In addition to that, the district said in a letter to the community that it is committing to also place a full-time armed security officer in the school, as well as to provide district patrol coverage in the Evergreen area. Weird. It's almost like maybe we shouldn't have gun-free zones for schools. Maybe we should actually think about protecting those who need the protection the most. Maybe? Who'd have thought? What a novel take, you know? What a novel take. Jeffco Facilities team was also expected to spend the day in a high school Tuesday before formulating a plan to share with school families. That plan would include information about when staff and students may be able to return to the building for support, opportunities, and connection, eventual returning to learning. Okay? We understand this is the process and not everyone will be ready for experience transitioning at this time. The district shared in its letter. The transition is something that we will plan for input and attention. Okay? So the reason, in my opinion, why we're not hearing so much about this particular shooting on a national scale, thankfully, it wasn't a mass tragedy. It wasn't a massacre shooting, a lot of loss of life. Thank God, right? Thank God. But the narrative doesn't fit, folks. Using a revolver, okay? Not a big black scary magazine loaded, fully belt fed, fire breathing, dragon's breath, massacre, murder machine, weapon of war that the Democrats always think it is. Okay? It was a revolver. Thankfully, these kids weren't dead, or hopefully they get fully recovered, and hopefully they actually come out of this okay. Our prayers go out to their family and themselves. But and now and on top of that, I think the bigger issue is that Jefferson County is responding to having armed security at the school. That's something that we need to fully address. Is the fact that this is how we address gun violence. We need to be the great equalizer. We need to be the ones who show up and say, you know what? We are not allowing our schools to be victimized anymore. We are not allowing soft targets such as schools and churches and shopping centers, grocery stores, okay? Public places, okay? Don't make gun-free zones. Don't make zones where anyone can just come in and start shooting willy-nilly, okay? Violent crime in the U.S. Colorado, okay? Colorado is top 2 violent crimes in the U.S., okay? Under Democrat control, Colorado is second most dangerous state in the country. Number 1 in bank robberies, number 1 in car theft, number 1 in property crime, number 4 in property crime, number 4 in rape, 8th highest violent crime rate, number 1 in cocaine use, 10th highest crime rate of human trafficking. Many would volunteer to protect their citizens. Many would volunteer to protect, and obviously I'm not saying any willy-nilly person off the street. I'm sure they would have to have a rigid course of a storied history of security, public service, training, arguably military, many different ways that we could vet these armed security people to protect our most vulnerable places in the public. Whether it's, like I said, schools, churches, shopping centers, grocery stores, public accommodations, libraries, you name it. So many of our elected officials, all of our government institutions have armed security. You got to go through metal detectors before you go through the state capitol. Unless, of course, the doors and windows are smashed open by federal operatives, and then you go on a unofficial tour through the Capitol building. But that's another thing entirely. Sick of shitty government. You can get some IR binos pretty cheap on the internet. Not the greatest, but let you see the neighborhood at night. Oh yeah, I like that. But see, do you remember who lived in the neighborhoods? Who lived in the time when there were neighborhood watch signs on the corner of your streets? Yeah, no. Well, I think infrared binoculars, as well as strobe lights, as well as if you wanted to get fancy, some FLIR tech or thermal tech. Some phone cameras even have that. Some phone cameras or even small gadget cams. You can get FLIR or thermals. Yeah. We need to start thinking about being the person you wish to see, right? No one's coming to save us but ourselves. We have to be our own protectors, right? We have to be the one to stand up and say, enough is enough, and I'm taking control. I am going to be responsible for my future and my destiny. See, that is, okay, and this is where it comes full circle back into the argument of the black-pilled anarchos, right? These black-pilled anarchos are like, fuck everything, I'm out, no, doom and gloom, black pillar, whatever. The government's fucked, everything's fucked, right? The definition of anarchy is lack of government and self-government. There is an absence of structured government. Therefore, I am in charge of my governing abilities. I am the divine power of my governing power, right? I am the one to make decisions. I am the one with logic and reason and balancing and understanding and what I need to do in my life. Okay? That is the quintessential form of true distilled anarchy. Not violence, not destruction, not burning cities down to the ground. Be your own first responder. Exactly right. Thank you. Thank you, Seth, Sparky. I appreciate that. That is exactly what we need. No, we're all a little mentally incapacitated, sick of shitty gov. I appreciate your name though. Awesome name. Dogs are always good watchers. My hunting dog. Yeah, I've got an excellent shepherd dog myself. Shepherd mix, beautiful, excellent. He'll smell out. He'll see out anything. He'll bark at someone parking their car across the street. But it's good. Here's the thing. Here's the energy that we're needing. Right? Be your own government is not meaning that we do not mean to destroy the system of government. We have to use that mindset and install a better version of government. Be your own first responder, be your own self-governing authority. Apply that and bring that energy into an elected office position, into the person who reluctantly decides to run for office because they don't think government is the best thing for the people. But being in that mindset of, I am my own first responder. I want to empower other citizens. I want to empower other constituents, these other people who I'm representing. I want you to be the empowered force, the most truest form of governance in your life is you, not daddy government, not the establishment, not the state. We need to siphon the consolidation of power and control from the government, from the establishment, the authoritarian bureaucracy that is what the leftists want. Siphon that energy, siphon that power, and return it back to the people. This is what I want to run on. This is what my principle of what it means to be an elected official is, right? If I ever feel like it, if I ever decide to, who knows? But I'm just saying, we need to, no one else is coming to save us but ourselves. We have to be the one. Sick of shitty government says, provide your own food for your family. Learn basic medical skills. Learn to shoot if you don't know how. Learn to fix your own shit if you don't know how. Pretty much just do everything yourself. Totally agree. Hunting season, yes, hunting season is coming up. Yeah, no, I always fail to file with the Department of Wildlife, so I just get an over the counter here in my state. But unfortunately, with the passing of Senate Bill 3 and this authoritarian gun control legislation that's going to effect in 2026 here in Colorado, the Department of Wildlife is going to be the gun control Gestapo, basically approval or denial if you can or can't own a magazine loaded firearm, which is absolutely bullshit. So I don't really want to participate in the Department of Wildlife. I don't know. I've got this internal battle that I'm having to deal with. We need to repeal that entirely, and there is a lot of legislation and litigation that's going against Senate Bill 3 here in Colorado. I will check that. I will. Yeah, Captain K, Substack, real, C Skeshel, yeah. Yeah, no, Nebraska is awesome, dude. I appreciate you jumping in. If you haven't been in here before, dude, I highly recommend following and following me on X, following me on Instagram, follow me on Rumble, whatever works for you. I see you that you're on Rumble. Rumble is the way to go. I'm also on YouTube, but let me finish reading this, and then I gotta hit the road. But Colorado is, 10th highest rate in human trafficking, number 3 in drug use, number 6 in most regulated state, number 1 most state for restaurant price inflation, number 6 most expensive state to live in, 6th worst state to retire in. Coloradans need 15,000 more now to maintain 2021 standard of living. 9th worst state for individual to save money, 6th most expensive state, 4th in road rage, 7th worst state in new business survival. Homelessness increased by 30% in 2024. Denver ranked worst city to live in. Do I need to continue? Do I need to keep going? We can see that the problem is our shitty government that has been instituted by the leftists here in Colorado. Do you see the trend? Do you see the trend? And this is what I'm trying to do. For the last 7 years, the Democrats have held 7 years. Yeah, for the last 7 years, Democrats have held a solid, maintained a trifecta of legislative, judicial, and Senate and executive. All these conditions are controlled by the Democrats here in Colorado, and I want to see it change. That's why I'm asking you to rally together with me here in the Mile High City, here in the Centennial State, to do something about it, to speak up, to speak about these election integrity issues, to speak on these corrupt legislative issues, gun control, First Amendment, parental rights, the transitioning of children, the attack that the government here in Colorado has done against the people here. Okay, folks, I appreciate everyone supporting me, supporting the stream. Realm Walker hot sauce, homemade, hand-bottled hot sauce, handmade by me. If you are interested, check out Realm Walker hot sauce on Instagram, or go to breakthechains.media is the landing page. I will be putting out new articles that you can check out. Some of these, I want to write an article about gun control. I want to write an article about First Amendment, private property. I want to write an article about election integrity and this whole election situation. But I appreciate everyone joining me on this earlier live stream here, and I wanted to see if maybe who do I raid here though? Who is live right now that I can raid? Okay, perfect. We're gonna raid Pop Culture Crisis. We are going to raid Pop Culture Crisis here. I appreciate everyone jumping in. Break the Chains Media. Follow me on any of your platforms. Follow me on your favorite platforms. I am on Rumble. I am on YouTube. I am on X. I am on Instagram. And I am everywhere to speak the truth, speak against tyranny here on Tyranny Response Tuesday. Break the Chains Media. Tyranny Response Tuesday. We do live streams Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We Are Change Wednesday is coming up tomorrow. Folks, I appreciate you. We are going over here to Pop Culture Crisis. Let me put in the raid here. Thank you all for being a part of this and sharing this live stream, sharing this. This we have to keep these conversations live. Melindy, I appreciate you. Sick of Government, I appreciate you. And I hope to see you next time here on Break the Chains Media. And until then, fight for freedom and never give up.